Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 127 of Dissonant Waves. My name is Dominic, and Ritz and Tricks are here.
Hello.
Yes.
And we're in a weird spot right now. I'm in a makeshift setup. Tricks is in the proper setup. Ritz is always in proper setup.
I'm not quite in a proper setup. I'm on mobile data right now because my Wi-Fi got knocked out by the wind.
Close enough. Proper setup. But we
Mine's better. I got a new monitor. I got a new mouse pad. It means nothing towards audio quality, but it's
I
cool.
do think I have one up on you though. I'm holding a kitten.
It's fine. Well, we
Good
have
old Monty.
Hello, Monty. We have a plus size set this week.
Yes.
Talking about a bunch of different things. We each have brought two things to the table again. I brought YACHT's Shangri-La album, and as well as the 100 gecs EP Snake Eyes. Ritz has brought Let Her Burn by Rebecca Black, and Things Don't Always Go the Way You Plan by Flume. And Tricks has brought Deadstock, a Shakey Graves anthology by Shakey Graves, and Land of Sleeper by Pigs.
Hell yeah.
Now, we kind of got a lot, so we do have to start and get into this, I reckon. And like usually with every episode, as we're waiting for all of us to come in, we usually have the pre-stuff chat. And me and Dominic, I kind of had a little talk and said that we think one of the worst albums of this week is one that's picked by me, but Dominic didn't exactly disclose why. So, without further ado, Dominic, what do you think it was?
I think the weaker pick this week was indeed Flume.
Yeah. I have to unfortunately agree.
And I mean, I've never really listened to Flume, but from my understanding, this is like a bunch of demos, sketches, and mixtape of like stuff from the past, right?
So, I'll start this off. So, Flume, really well known producer in Australia, has the feat of winning the Hottest 100 twice after last year's countdown, or the 2022 countdown. The only ever artist to have won it multiple times is Bernard Fanning from Powderfinger, winning twice with Powderfinger and once with Bernard Fanning. So it's a very exclusive club. And he dropped halfway through last year a song called Slugger, which was a demo from, it's seemingly from his debut album that didn't quite make it onto it, and he finally dropped for the 10-year anniversary. And now, earlier this year, had released just a compilation of demos and stuff like that. Surprisingly, Slugger is not on there as well. Just kind of randomly featuring a bunch of random tracks that never got into anywhere else. There's a Injury Reserve collab to start off this thing that says it's back in 2018. There's stuff that's from 2020 on here, stuff that's unmarked to the date, 2016 as well on here. So it's a mixture of dates. Yeah, 2012. Yeah, that's right. There is one with with Y 1.3. So quite a lot of bit of time in between a lot of these demos, and it's a kind of weird compilation that's brought out. And I figured Flume is an artist that I want to cover. There are a lot better Flume stuff out here, so I'd rather just get probably the most mediocre out of the way before we go full into Flume. And this is, yeah, it's alright. There's a couple good songs on here, but realistically, it's just a compilation of demos, and most of them have got nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
I think this demo compilation is a really good example of why some songs don't get finished.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
You know, you work it to a certain point, and then you realize there's nothing more I can do right now, or I'm not interested in this anymore. Let's do something else. And I think a couple of songs in here could have been realized and put onto an album in full. I think there was enough there. But I also think some of them are literally just beats that are weird and kooky and don't really have much to go from there.
I would say the only song on here which I think actually sounds close to finish and should have been released as a single, if any of them were to be, is Rhinestone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Rhinestone stands out in a great way. I like that the vocals are kind of like this really pitched down at the start before Isabella Manfredi of the Preacher's fame here, which probably never got into any fame outside of Australia. It sounds like it's almost a pop single that Flume was going to put out that has a little bit of experimentalness to it, but is actually probably the most ready to be released out of any song in here. And it's a shame because there's other collabs on here, mostly just the Injury Reserve and the Panda Bear on here, which actually have some good concepts on them, but it's very obvious they're not fully realized yet. Is there really anywhere to go? The Injury Reserve collab almost sounds like it could have been something that could have gone onto his Hiatus as Flume mixtape, but in the end, just it wouldn't really fit on there. I've listened to that mixtape many times. It's my personal favorite out of Flume's releases on there. But it's something that you would want to be a lot more polished than it actually is. And I get the whole point in this compilation is that there isn't anything polished. It's a compilation of demos. So it's not. I'm not putting out any real critique on this, other than you saying, okay, all these songs are basically abandoned, so they may as well just release them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's interesting, kind of like looking at the cycle, the process of hey, an artist is making a lot of songs, and sometimes they don't work out, and sometimes they do, but a lot of the time they're just kind of there, and you will never really hear about them unless they happen to bring it up somewhere. And this is the chance to do that. Like, Injury Reserve is somewhat relevant only because of the death of one of the members, and so having something from them is kind of interesting for that reason. But other than that, it's just kind of there. But it's still interesting to see, hey, there is these things that he was willing to throw away for something better. And you know, these some of these features would be fire on like an album. Like, artists would kill to have these, but it doesn't matter if the song is not there. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
What the fuck is B58?
That's just Flume for you. Flume just does that.
I think that was the one I thought that was a Ritz beat.
Yeah, it's... No, not really. It's a little bit too polished to that and a little bit too creative, but... Flume is it's probably the most well-known wonk producer, is the best explanation of the genre that he goes for. Or IDM, I guess, or whatever. And it's kind of weird because his earlier stuff is a lot more hip-hop influenced, yeah. But a lot of that hip-hop influence came from the vocal performances that would happen on them. Yeah, whilst obviously there was still a bit of the instrumentation or the production behind it contributing to that. But he basically went full-on into with the wonk for his more experimental songs, and then went for more of a pop polish for all the stuff that he wants to do commercial. Like, Flume goes 50-50 on whether or not he wants to make a hit, or if he just wants to make whatever the fuck he wants to make. Which, there's a lot to be admired about that.
Yeah.
Someone who knows how to craft a pop hit and what will be successful, but then also knows how to make what he wants to make, and just juggling it around. That's something to be admired about it. Also, it's always worth mentioning every time that Flume has been mentioned whatsoever. When people also talk about cancel culture and how that you have to be the perfect human being, and then Flume proved that you can eat ass on stage and get more popular.
Oh, he did that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Burning Man 2019, where he's... So, 2016, he releases Never Be Like You. It's his biggest song. It's his peak. He's starting to get a steady decline in media attention whatsoever. And then he blows up again with this whole... Some people were trying to be like this whole, Flume has done a disgraceful act, but then everybody was like, actually, this is great. I love Flume now.
Fair enough.
It's like
Mac DeMarco with the drumstick.
Basically, yeah, except well, Mac DeMarco, I think that one was filmed by someone else in the audience or something. I think it was the case. Whilst Flume was filmed by his girlfriend at the time.
I was thinking of the Bravado cover more than the Mac DeMarco thing, but you do.
But every time Flume plays on the Hottest 100, me and my dad and my brother just go, "That's our little arsey."
They just go eat ass.
Yeah, Ritz's family pass it on.
This is just an interesting little compilation. It doesn't work out. The title seems to be very self-aware of it all.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah, there's some cool things. It's our introduction to Flume on this podcast. I think I'd rather have introduced Flume with this than introduced Flume to something else than brought this down, because I do think out of all the full releases that Flume has put out, this is probably the weakest. And I say that not being the biggest Skin fan. But yeah, there's still some cool stuff in here, some experimental stuff. And his beat making as well, which would have hoped would have gotten into a bit more mainstream of a release, but in the end, didn't really. Like I said, Rhinestone actually sounds like a near completed song, so I kind of almost hope that it just didn't get put on this and actually did get completed and pushed out as a single or something, but who knows? And I mean, there were a bunch of singles in 2019 that never went onto an album as well, so maybe there are some B-sides and more finished songs out there as well.
Yeah.
In the end, though, this is just a very warm welcome to Flume.
We'll give points to Spoke to Aliens finally, 1.3, for being very creepy and atmospheric. And I think if there was any other song I would peg for like being, yeah, that could have been on something. It'd be that one. But
fair enough.
I wonder.
I can see that.
I wonder for some of these, like what he wanted to do more, or what he thought it needed, or something, right? Like what did Rhinestone really need?
Probably an album with it.
It's just too different, you think, than just like a standalone thing.
Yeah, well, he could have released it as a standalone single and didn't. Who knows?
I didn't think it was strong enough. Maybe
there were
not the right.
There were a bunch of companion EPs he did to Skin as well. One which had Isabella Manfredi on it as well. I believe it was. I think it was the first compilation EP. I'm just searching up on this. It's so hard to search when everything gets fucking remixed. Yeah, Skin Companion EP 1 Trust. That was the one that that did. But then also interestingly enough, like the EP2 got released, and then straight after that, Hyperreal, which shares the same album art as the Skin Companion EP2, but isn't on Skin Companion EP2, got released, and that was more successful. So it's not like he was unused to putting out singles that weren't tied to anything.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. That's just Flume for you.
I mean, you got to pump this up with something, right? There has to be something interesting here to talk about. So,
yeah,
he chose something intentionally that was a little more done.
Yeah. That's Flume. That's our introduction.
Favorites?
Yeah.
Rhinestone. Spoke to Aliens finally. Least favorite? Beat 58.
Favorites, Rhinestone. I still like Counting Sheep, but it's not finished enough that I guess probably won't call it a favorite. Yeah, Spoke to Aliens is pretty good. Least favorite, probably close, 1.2.
Favorites, I'll also agree with Rhinestone, and least favorite, I'm going to go with Counting Sheep.
Interesting. All right. Well,
all right, Tricks, what's the next?
Yeah, we went through the same thing.
Why don't we talk about some good doom metal? We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, come on, Sleeper. Introduce the Lamb of Sleep.
Yes, Pigs X7's The Land of Sleeper, the highly anticipated third full album from Pigs X7, which is
I thought really, it was their fourth, to be honest.
Something like that, yeah.
I think they've had 2 albums and an EP prior to this.
Yeah, Feed the Rats is 3 songs, but it's 36 minutes. It's considered an album on there, but Kings of Cowards is 6 songs, so it's like, okay, this. Mm-hmm. It's stoner rock, stoner metal, whatever. It's all short song amounts, high song lengths.
Yes.
Not here, really.
Not here. This is more of like your Sabbathy style doom, and it rocks.
Hey, you're not kidding with the Sabbath sound. He really kind of sounds like Ozzy a little bit.
Yeah,
a little. It's probably because it's like that kind of like more. I say muffled vocal, but it's not like actual like fully muffled. It's just a bit like.
It's very vintage and like it's very like particular in a specific way.
Yeah, but somehow I would also say it's kind of really clearly produced and meant to, I think, be more mainstream.
Yeah, a little bit. I can see that.
I kind of peg this as like, if you want to be introduced to what this genre is, it's probably this.
Yeah, that's really what Rubbernecker was too.
Viscerals was the
Viscerals.
album.
Visceral. My bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Fumbling with a cat, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I preferred Viscerals though.
Yeah, I think Viscerals had some more fun moments on it.
I think Visceral had more edge. This one feels, it's like it's a lot cleaner produced. Yeah, and I think it's probably got more flow as an album than Viscerals, but the actual sound wise and just remembering it, I think I was a bit more into what Viscerals was doing than I am into this. Not to say that I don't like this record. I think it's as good as I'm probably going to enjoy stoner metal, outside of obviously Dr. Colossus, which was a bit more stoner rock, I guess. But it's a genre which I admire but have struggled to fully get into, and I feel like if there is a band that is going to make me get a bit more into the genre in its more purest form, I guess, it would be something like this, Pigs X7, who are a bit more, I would say, accessible with the sound.
Yeah,
I think they try to go for a bit more with the shorter songs and stuff like that. It's a bit more variety, I guess they're trying to go for. But I was listening to this album, I was liking it, I was liking what I was hearing, but then I also kind of just realized halfway through it, there's actually not that much variety on this one.
Yeah, there's not really.
I think there are some songs that sound interesting. Like, I like what Ball Lightning has with that duet going on. I think Big Rig has some nice riffs, but like, I'm someone that's
Ball Lightning is the one I would say is probably the I wouldn't say it's a standout track and the best, but it's the one that's the most distinct from each other.
Yes. But I mean, for me, I think this genre shines best when it's not being this mainstream, because I think it when it's trying to push boundaries and do the hour-long track or the 80-minute track, I think that's more interesting in terms of a feat, in terms of an accomplishment. If you want to be more like Metallica, you could do something like Monolord, I guess. And I think Monolord maybe is another good example of a more accessible kind of thing in this genre. But I also struggle with it's good, it sounds nice, but am I going to come back to it all the time? Not necessarily.
No. I'm going to come back to Viscerals more than I am Land of Sleeper.
I prefer both of these more to Electric Wizard still, which was fine too.
I love Electric Wizard.
Did I say Electric Sleeper? I meant Electric Wizard.
It's been so long since I've listened to Electric Wizard. That was Dope Frame, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell. Excuse me, as I just coughed my lungs out. It's kind of hard to tell you which one I would prefer in this case. I think I'd probably still enjoy Pigs.
How does this compare to something like Witch to you guys?
Oh, I like Witch more.
It's been a fucking while since I remember listening to Witch, so...
Isidore is more of a bop.
I love Witch.
I mean, it's Jay Mascis also.
Yeah, he's on drums, so...
I think Witch is a little different. Again, I think I liked Monolord and Witch a little bit more, and so they stand like... Either in this genre you're going to stand out to me and be more respectable, or you're going to do like an accomplishment and achievement, like I was saying, and that's going to be how I remember you.
I'm going to have to bring out Ohm one of these days.
Yeah, probably.
They are Al Cisneros, the bass player for Sleep, his side project, and his stuff can just be described as like Gregorian chant but metal.
I'm ready for it whenever.
All right.
But this is fine. I like this enough. Not enough to, like I said, come back to it, but it's cool.
Yeah. I think when we're comparing albums and when I'm thinking about all of them, it's like when I'm comparing Pigs just to Flume here. I'm thinking that realistically, I'm probably going to come out remembering more stuff from the Flume record. But this also just feels so much more... It feels polished in a way that it also doesn't help it, but it also feels more finished, which benefits it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's comparing apples and oranges, and I'm really trying my hardest to try and do that. But I didn't come out of Land of Sleeper going in this whole kind of like, yeah, that really fucked Like I've come out of listening to some rock albums or metal albums or punk albums.
Fucks.
Yeah, it fucks is a little too.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
Just the tip is probably actually where I'd put this, to be honest.
It keeps you entertained enough to keep going, but not enough to enjoy the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the hand job of doom metal.
I think that's probably the most apt analogy we could probably do for this. Like it's good. You enjoy it while it's happening, but afterwards you're like, yeah, probably could have had more.
Talk about Hand of Doom.
I do think it's interesting that I think collectively we've remembered more about viscerals than some of us do some of the other ones. Like Ritz, you were comparing. I think we did Electric Wizard more recently than Pigs X7 beforehand, and you were saying more about viscerals than that one.
Yeah, that would probably be the case. I mean, I still remember songs like New Body and Reducer.
There's no like goofy song about Greg's the Bakers with blood and butter on this album. That's what it's missing.
A little, yeah.
But a song like Big Rig does hold promise conceptually.
Yeah, like
Talk
Space Truck
trucks.
and Deep Purple.
Two trucks fucking...
Two trucks having sex.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard that song, the Neil Cicerega. Fuck, when is Neil Cicerega going to do stoner metal?
Oh, God. You got me thinking when you compared Flume to Pigs X7. I'm like, has there been a doom metal band that has had a heavy electronica side?
Fuck, maybe that's what it needs.
I might have to do some research onto that, because I found a band called Cambrian, and they're doom metal with Hawaiian steel guitar. And it works really good.
One of the more interesting singles from this year is actually the new "Hey I Love You" single with I already forgot what it's called. Friend Group from Hell, and that ends with the fucking steel drums.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'll tell you what, it's an instrument if you use well enough. It's interesting enough. So, yeah, I guess doom metal and stoner metal for me is something that. It feels like once you've listened to enough of it, there's not really too much to go into unless you're that theoretical into music theory. Like if you care about all the finer details and stuff like that, I know there's enough variances and differences that people care about. But when it comes to just more casual listening, I feel like it's in need of a shakeup. It's why I was happy when we were listening to Dr. Colossus, because that
was something different.
Making it wasn't just different because they were talking about The Simpsons on there.
Right.
It felt like a different sound that they were doing in there. It felt like it was a bit. It was probably a bit more accessible, yes, on there, but it felt like it was going nostalgic, but yet recent.
Yeah.
Whilst these just feel like they're, it's not the same thing happening over. I wouldn't go to Pigs X7 and call them a direct knockoff of anything.
Well, they themselves call themselves a direct knockoff of Black Sabbath's Changes, to be specific.
Oh, fair enough then.
Oh, dude. Monty.
Good old Monty.
He's just attacking my leg. The one that I want to tattoo, so it's going to be a little while before that heals.
But I feel like this genre is in need of a new band that people rip themselves off from.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if every band is ripping off Black Sabbath still, I mean, it's been, what?
They're ripping off... Well, Black Sabbath is kind of like the fucking shit you drop the dead butterfly in like the butterfly effect. The primordial soup of doom metal and just metal in general.
But there's also Black Sabbath, and then there's Dope Smoker, right? Those are the two references.
Yeah, and you can draw heavy parallels from Sleep to Sabbath.
Right.
In the end, though,
it's so recursive.
Yeah, so it was a good listen. I didn't really have any skips in it. It flowed well enough to be a good album on here. If you like doom / stoner metal, you would like this record. I think I'm still more of a Viscerals fan. I think they had a lot more edge to this, and this is a lot more cleaner, I guess, when it comes to stoner metal / doom metal, which doesn't work in its favor. But I guess good on them for trying to get a bit more budget into their production, whether or not that's for a commercial effect or just actual artistic effect. It's on them. It's doom metal. It's never gonna hit top 40 anyway.
Imagine if it did, though.
No. Yeah, imagine if just like we wake up tomorrow and Sleep is like at the Dope Smokers at like the top of the Billboard charts, or like even fucking like Bell Witch.
Oh god, if
TikTok's done it again.
Someone just makes a whole TikTok movie length thing for Bell Witch. That'd be great.
Oh my god, I think I know what I'm doing this summer.
Follow for part 45.
I mean, the Caretaker got popularity.
That's true.
Yeah, this is true.
But that was everyone who was doing it for a challenge and not actually focusing on what the fucking album was about. No. They were just kind of just like, can you listen to this really long album? Yeah, I listened to it, and now that I know of it, I'm cool. It's like, mate, the whole thing's about fucking dementia and awareness.
And now that I've listened to it, I'm a broken human being.
It's like, goddamn, that was one of TikTok's finer moments, to be honest.
Yeah.
One of the best openings of any album. Anyone.
Yeah.
Ooh. Anyway, favorites on here, probably the single Mr. Medicine and Ball Lightning. Big Rig up there as well is pretty good. Least favorites probably Out the Stone.
Favorites, Ball Lightning, no least favorites.
Favorite, Ball Lightning. Bigger was kind of cool, but I don't really have anything I could say as the least favorite.
Alright, well, we've picked an album from Trix, we've picked an album from me. Let's pick an album from Dominic, and are you ready to hear my take, Dominic?
Sure. Can I set up first or no?
What do you want to set up?
What are you picking?
Well, we can do both of them, but I'll pick YACHT.
Okay. So quickly, this is something I picked almost 3 years ago, and I even teased it and everything way back then. And I said back then that this is a very pretentious band, and I think that I have problems with them, especially after this album came out. But even when this album came out, they have like a whole book out there of like, this is our philosophy, follow us for life advice, that kind of bullshit. They scream culty sometimes, and I'm not a big fan of that. This album, though, was really important to me in high school, so this is definitely a rose-tinted glasses kind of album for me.
So I say my take. So I can see how it's really pretentious. They seem like they're absolute insufferable wankers from all the controversies and all the stuff that I've seen about them and all them trying to kind of create it, specifically that sex tape drama 3 years ago. It is indie pop, indie/art pop that has definitely been done a lot of times, and yet it's still my favorite of the week.
Hell yeah.
I have a hot take too.
All right.
I can see why you like this, Domino, because it's just of Montreal that's not quite fully baked yet.
Really?
Yeah, I get like a kind of half-finished of Montreal vibe from this album, and I can't explain it.
I think it's a little.
I can understand some of the vibes. I don't think it's a half-baked of Montreal. It's not as good as of Montreal's best, don't get me wrong.
It's not as good as of Montreal's best, but like I was definitely feeling like, oh, this feels like Grönland to Gattaca or something.
I mean, in some ways, maybe.
There's moments on this record where it's like, yeah, they're very much trying to sound more important than they actually are. But I don't know, it hit right. I think at least what they were saying was in tune with the pop they were making.
Yeah,
it's a 2011 album personified, basically. But
yes,
it's
yeah,
it's a fun little record. I love this. This I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I was going to, and it's probably my favorite of the week. Yeah, it might be a little on the fence, and we'll see how time goes. But yeah, no, I like this record. Especially the shorter tracks on here are actually. I kind of actually like really catchy little pop songs. So.
I think I'm gonna have a controversial #1 pick this week.
Go ahead. We'll talk about it when we get there, maybe.
Yes.
But Ritz, have you heard it before?
No, this is the first time I've heard this.
Interesting. I'm glad.
I might have heard some YACHT before. I don't think they were ever popular here, so 2011 I probably wasn't really focusing on this band. 2011 actually I was probably just worried about trying to survive year 8, but
Remember Dystopia was playing on Sirius XM in the car with my dad, and that was a really fun day. But
Go on.
yeah, no, I mean, he was just surprised because it was his first time having Sirius XM really playing in the car, and then like he was like shocked that they said motherfucker and got away with it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's the power of digital radio, baby.
It's fun. I mean, yeah, the earth is on fire. They probably say that chorus fucking 25 fucking times.
Sure.
In that. Let me see if I can even fucking find the lyrics up for that and how many times I fucking say it. The lyric, the earth is on fire. We don't have no door to let the motherfucker burn. Obviously referencing the roof is on fire. Old rap line from back in the fucking wherever it was from. I can't remember. And it's a line that really only needed to be said once in the song. Don't get me wrong about that. I don't think it hits as well as they think it does, but I still find the song catchy. Like the meaning on this album is completely lost in its pretentiousness, and that is basically the negative I have to this album.
I would still argue that it's better than a lot of dystopian fiction that was popular around this time. I think it's more interesting and more fun.
That's not hard to do, though.
Yeah, no, I would agree with both of you on that one.
But it's like, you know, Utopia is a great opener just for the jangly acousticness of it and just kind of how fun it is, right? And it's like it really gets you pumped, and then it goes into that darker place, and then it stays in that darker place for a little while.
Yeah, it's like, just at least something going Utopia into dystopia. That's something that they probably thought of and went, "Yeah, we're geniuses."
True,
but you're right. You're right, though. It is well executed.
Like it gives songs like "Love in the Dark," which are just like kind of that more dark toned, dreamy, kind of lost in the haze kind of thing, and then you follow up with something like One Step, which is very kind of on the nose, like, ooh, how far can you push it? How far can you take it? 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4, you know?
Yeah.
And then, of course, that's then followed up by Holy Roller, which is literally just someone giving a sermon in the most pretentious way possible. But I really like Claire Evans' voice in that one. It's just really sultry in a way.
And then my favorite on follows that with Beam Me Up, I found was actually just really, really fun. It was the shortest track on here by basically a mile, because everything here. There's a couple songs that don't breach the 4-minute mark, but most of them are still breached the 3-minute, and this is just barely past 2 minutes. So it's very short compared to the rest of this album. But it's the catchiest out of all of them. They made a really short and catchy pop tune, which should have been bigger than it actually was.
Yeah, I mean, I think Beam Me Up's probably one of the lesser known, lesser talked about tracks on here too, which is kind of interesting.
It is the least played on Spotify.
I believe that, absolutely. I mean, but my problem is that a lot of these songs sound so stark from each other. They do a good job of separating some of them. But then you have One Step, Paradise Engineering, and Tripped and Fell in Love. I think those all share similarities in a way that kind of ruins that kind of, not perfection, but like that perfect like mix of different kinds of sounds. Especially having Paradise Engineering and Tripped and Fell in Love kind of back to back, and they don't sound exactly the same in the beginning, but they do sound similar enough that I would definitely confuse one for the other if I was just popping on random.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But then they bring it back with Shangri-La, and Shangri-La is a really fun, nostalgic track to kind of end it on. It's like the real opposite of Utopia, whereas Dystopia is trying to force it. Shangri-La is a really nice kind of, let's look back and reminisce one last time kind of thing. And I think that's one of the highlights of the album too. Just
I agree.
Starts really well, it ends really well, and in the middle's pretty decent. It goes up and down a little bit, but
I think it's an album that is a product of its time, but I don't think it exactly needs to stay there. I think it holds up well enough. It's definitely 2011 indie, and 2011 indie, for those who forgot, that was dominated by basically the alternative pop movement is what we'll call it. I mean, one of the biggest bands in indie in 2011 was Foster the People.
Yes.
One of the biggest songs of the last decade that was 2011, I guess. So it's like even that was Gautier. That was everywhere, and that was in the alternative pop movement, which eventually that would turn into what Lorde did in 2013, and then we'd have that as be the kind of pop sound as it would start to get for the next while. So the difference between the alternative indie between 2011 and 2013, it is incredibly large. Because remember, we basically had a movement in 2013 with a lot of different artists that would get a lot of popularity that were originally not so big in the US. I mean, Daft Punk obviously did have some success, but they never had the success that they got with Random Access Memories in 2013, nor did Arctic Monkeys in 2013, nor obviously Lorde put out their album as well. Vampire Weekend, I know, also had a very successful album out in 2013 as well. But then 2011 was just this kind of dominated form where we had a lot of these bands that were just like kind of getting alternative success for the first time as well. And they had a sound that was very kind of like, poppy or kind of like upbeat, I guess, like this as well, that we don't really hear anymore. It's a time, it's a sound that is very kind of distinctly 2010 to 2011. You get a bit of it in 2009, a bit of it in 2012, but most of it is just a 2010 to 2011 sound.
I think,
and this is what 2011 sounded like, and it's a time period that a lot of people do hold dearly as well, especially our ages, because we would have been learning a lot more independent artists or alternative artists that were peaking up because of this, and there are a lot of bands there that just made very pretentious music that we can kind of just leave back. But there's also some that just made some really fun music. I mean, one of the more well-known here in Australia for that kind of sound that broke out was a band called San Cisco with their song Awkward, which is literally a song about stalking somebody that you had a date with.
Yeah.
That was the kind of stuff that that got popular. And this, as I'm saying, this is the sound of 2011, and maybe that's why I like it so much, is I'm getting that good nostalgia from this, and having heard something that I guess was a bit more popular over in America than it was over here, but yet it's still kind of in a similar vein to it all. It's like a little good nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
I think interesting about this too is that this hit for me at a really perfect time, because as a high schooler, we love acting like we're smarter than everybody else, and we like things that tell us that we're special or unique if we get it right. It's kind of the Rick and Morty thing of like, you need 10 degrees to understand the depth of Rick and Morty, and there's a lot of kind of winking and nudging, I think, throughout this album that's very like, you're smart, you're cool if you get this.
You must have a high IQ to understand YACHT. And what the fucking YACHT stand for? Young Academic Champion High School Technology, some shit.
Yeah, it's where one of them went to for high school in Portland, Oregon, because of course
Young Americans Challenging High Technology.
Yes, Young Americans Challenging High Technology. That's a very Portland, Oregon kind of thing. And of course,
it's a fun record.
Yeah,
I thank you. I thank you for picking it specifically after picking Weezer last week.
I mean, I could have picked this 3 years ago, but I was like, are they too pretentious? Maybe, but I don't. I think this is one of the few times we can enjoy being pretentious but still have fun, and I really like that.
Favorites, least favorites. My favorites probably beam me up. Least favorite, fuck. That's a hard one to pick. Give me 2 seconds. Probably Paradise Engineering. Oh, so I will say that one of their suggested artists on here is YACHT, and they are a lot more popular over here than YACHT was. So that's probably the Australian radio equivalent.
Okay.
Gotcha.
What about you, Trix? I'm curious.
Let me pull up the track listing real quick. I was away from a second because my cat crawled into the back of the cabinet. The least favorite for me is definitely One Step. I remember just hearing that and like, I cannot stand this for some reason. And favorite for me, probably Shangri-La, honestly, the closer.
For me, I love Utopia. Dystopia is cool. Love in the Dark is just a lot of fun for me. I have a soft spot for Holy Roller because that's like literally the album in a nutshell. It's so pretentious, but I just enjoy listening to it. There's a funness there, and then Shangri-La, of course, is a wonderful closer. Least favorite's probably One Step. Like I think that is definitely the one that's the most on the nose. Let's talk about the 100 gecs real quick.
Yeah, 100 gecs. This is why your picks this week have been great. This is also a very fun EP.
Yeah, Snake
Hey, big man, put the money in my pocket. Check the eyes out the socket. That was their opener and their fucking live set, and it was so fucking good.
I want to know why they decided to release this separately. Just a bunch of tracks. Like Skrillex is on this. Just a couple other things. Just didn't think it fit on 10,000 gecs, maybe.
It definitely did. These three songs definitely do not fit on 10,000 gecs. But this is a fucking fun little EP. I'm glad they released this. This technically is a part of our 2023 cycle. It was released December 2, so it counts in the 2023 cycle.
Indeed,
so
it does.
It's 2020. It's a 2023.
This is my number one for the week.
Oh
yeah, I can believe that.
I don't think that's that controversial.
Yeah, no, this screams everything that Tricks would love. Obviously, Laura Less, probably one of the most well-known transgendered singers out there, and a lot of bass. What else do you need?
Tricks, what was that? What was that screenshot you posted of the album art for 100 gecs or 1,000 gecs?
The caffeine addicted transgender test.
Fuck yeah.
Are you caffeine addicted, Tricks?
Very much so. 400 milligrams a day.
Guess you pass.
There's if you've ever gone onto the 100 gecs subreddit, it's fucking funny. It's almost actually just transgender shit posting.
That's great. I will have to check that out.
Yeah, someone posted an image that just says, "That's him, officer. That's the person who went to a 100 gecs show to get they them pussy."
Fair enough. I'm always curious because I know Dylan and Laura are like pretty widespread from each other. They're not exactly based in the same area together, but their origin city is supposedly St. Louis, Missouri, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even work? I think Laura lives in like California or something right now.
I don't know where they've been. I mean, granted, they've been touring quite a lot, but it probably doesn't even matter where they're based.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure the tree is in Des Plaines, Illinois. Yeah, it's not that far from me.
Yeah, well, the 100 gecs, other part of the 100 gecs subreddit is just people going to the tree. In fact, my brother posted a fucking great image. Let me see if I can fucking find it. It was I've actually fucking found it instantly. It's the Tom Scott at the 100 gecs tree.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Oh. Yeah, this is a fun little thing. I'm glad to have just kind of popped this on. We have a little bit of a theme of like hyper pop, electro pop, indie pop kind of thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 6 minutes basically. It's 6 minutes and 4 seconds technically, but it's 6 minutes, and it covers basically 100 gecs of sound in 6 minutes, from going from that kind of like very high, near punk rocky sound, to be honest, with songs like "Hey Big Man," to their more kind of like serious, toned down, more poppy sound in songs like "Torture Me." Like those two songs are completely distinct from each other, yet completely fit in this.
Yeah, I mean, like when you listen to 10,000 gecs, "Runaway" sounds more similar to the first part of "I Got My Tooth Removed."
Yeah.
So there is definitely a through line of what they want to cover, and I'm glad they're not sticking to just being they're hyper pop. They're they're this specific thing. They are more ambitious than that.
Yeah, hyper pop is the easiest way to describe 100 gecs. The actual true easiest way to describe 100 gecs is PC Music and that label.
Yeah, but smartly they're not sticking to anything. They're just trying to be musicians and do their thing.
So one of my other favorite fucking 100 gecs moments is it was A.G. Cooked was asked why they did another remix for 100 gecs, and they said they kept forcing me to.
Perfect. Love it.
That's great.
Good EP.
Yeah, fun time.
Yeah, very good EP.
I like gecs.
I like
It was really fun to see him.
Skrillex.
Yeah, I really liked seeing them live. They actually for a band that's basically just them playing a backing track and then screaming into microphones. They have a really good live show. I know a lot of people complain when fucking artists aren't really playing instruments. They did play the guitar for a bit when they played Gek acoustically. That was fucking funny. Yeah, they actually only played Hey Big Man from this EP, if I'm correct. It kind of more split it between the two albums.
I mean, you know, either you're Origami Angel and you're doing everything as much as you can with two people and trying to recreate what you can, or you're just leaving it all to computers and doing your thing.
Yeah.
And I think both are valid, as long as the music sounds good.
Yeah.
Actually, here's the image just for tricks. It's Laura Les wearing a shirt that you might appreciate.
Hell yeah.
No sex. Anyway,
Monty got banished to the bathroom.
Definitely no bad songs on here. Favorite is Hey Big Man and Torture Me.
Favorite's Big Man, least favorite's Runaway. None that it's bad, just one that stands out the most.
I have no least favorites, and my favorites are Hey Big Man, Torture Me, and Runaway.
Nice. You like all of it. Wonderful.
Yes.
That was the joke, Dominic. You've ruined it all. You've ruined it all.
No, wait, can you explain it to me? I didn't get it.
Okay, actually, so the joke is that it's a very short EP. There's actually only 3 songs in it.
Really?
And Trix decided to name out every single song on this EP as a favorite. However, because we usually pick 3 favorites at times from albums, it sounds like it's regular. So therefore, the joke is actually in the phrasing.
And there was no least favorites, you said?
Yes.
Oh my god. Wild. Speaking of hyperpop, Rebecca Black.
So I just let out the biggest fucking burp I've let in a while. My partner came home. She's just staring at me, wondering how that much gas could come out this body. She's
Hell yeah.
I had to mute for that one. No one gets to hear it. That ain't getting recorded.
Oh damn.
Sadly, I heard it.
Yeah, hey. Rebecca Black.
You should have let her burn.
Rebecca Black. This
man,
is
I gotta go get soda now.
This is the debut album from Rebecca Black, from an artist that got really popular for a song that no one actually liked.
Is popular the right word to use?
Hate listen.
For Friday, yeah, it was popular. Everybody fucking knew it. Popular doesn't mean good.
Yeah.
Popular just means known, and it was popular. Friday was basically everywhere.
That's true.
It might not have been on radio, but you still could not have escaped it. That's fucking go into YouTube. How many fucking listens is there? Technically, there's no dislikes on that anymore.
I mean, everyone remembers where they were when they heard Friday for the first time.
Yeah, it was. And obviously, you know, it's 165 million views on fucking on YouTube. That's incredible. Even the remix, which came out a bit ago, which was so much fucking more listenable, even if it had, you know, mostly just riding on the meme potential of it. I mean, Rebecca Black was always seen as just some dumb kid who got lucky with the whole, what the fucking was his name? The dude who fucking organized all that shit.
Patrice something.
Patrice Wilson, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Patrice Wilson was always someone to criticize out of that. Yeah, he was somebody who was happy to make as much money putting out these music videos for these stars. But Rebecca Black actually, to her credit, handled the hate well.
As well as you probably could.
People forget that she never did this whole fucking, like, oh my god, you guys are bullying me campaign or anything like that. She instead kind of just acknowledged that there were parodies and it was happening. And for someone as young as her, when this was all fucking happening, That's something to be admired. There will be a lot of people, especially with the shit that Patrice Wilson has put out. Never forget fucking Chinese food. That one was only just a little racist.
Oh God,
I do not remember this. Hold up.
That song was like bubbling to mind the entire week. I just could not remember what it was.
Because remember, this Friday came out in 2011. She's 25 now.
Yeah.
25, turning 26.
Yeah.
So she was very fucking young
13.
when Friday came out. Yeah.
She even did did Saturday, a sequel song with Dave Days.
Yeah, it came out a couple of years ago, and it was basically, she recognized that she was a meme, and she played onto whatever success she could get from that. And then basically after Saturday on that, and when Saturday had came out, they basically kind of realized, all right, it's kind of dead now. And she's taken a lot of time to basically reinvent herself. What she put out one single was something in 2016, and then, yeah, realistically has been off the face of the earth.
She put out quite a bit from 2017 on, but only between 2013 and 2016 that she really did nothing. But so I mean, there's something to say about she's been around for most of this time, really trying to reinvent herself and get away from Friday, which is cool. Which
you
would never expect.
The best fucking thing that could have ever done for her career was the rise of the hyperpop movement, because then it actually allowed her to go into more of a scene in which she could say, all right, I'm putting out more serious music. And now we actually have a debut album from somebody who, for a lot of people, know her, but only know her for what they consider a joke video that they disliked on YouTube. And this ain't anything groundbreaking in the terms of hyperpop. This ain't groundbreaking in anything in the terms of music. This ain't anywhere close to my favorite releases of the year. But if you got to give it up to somebody who's genuinely reinvented themselves from what is probably one of the when you're that popular at your start, it's pretty hard to reinvent yourself. There are a lot of artists that struggle to do it, and a lot of people who get a lot of criticism as they're doing it. Let's not forget that Miley Cyrus is one of the few artists that successfully fucking reinvented herself.
Yeah.
And she got a lot of controversy whilst doing it. Whether or not that's deserved is another topic. But has Rebecca Black actually managed to reinvent herself here? Surprisingly, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
she comes off natural in this album. Like, she's actually a hyperpop artist.
But she also has a lot to draw from in the last 10 plus years. Like, I think there are moments here that are very Taylor Swift inspired. And like,
I think there's a bit of an agreement on that. I mean, my personal favorites from these albums come when she does stick more into the hyperpop sound. Like Crumbs is basically what I would expect from a PC music album, from like a Sophie album, basically.
Okay, fair.
Maybe not as high quality as Sophie put out during her time, but and still, there were moments on here where it's like the transition that she's done from the old sound into here was basically natural, and to a sense, it was. I'm not gonna act like this is an imposter in a scene. She's put out an album, obviously, that sounds like it belongs, and if it sounds like it belongs, then it belongs, because that's how audio works.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that she's like a pretender on the scene or something like that. I think my qualm is that these songs sound a little basic, and it's like she's reinvented herself only to kind of not really evolve in certain ways yet. But I think how far she's gotten proves that there is still something in the chamber that she can go further with if she wanted to.
Well, if she had released the best hyperpop album of all time on her first go, you'd all be a little bit too suspicious and no one would fucking believe it.
Sure.
And I agree. When we're coming into talking to this in this comparison of hyperpop records and all that, blah blah blah, or PC music or experimental pop or art pop or all that, then it exists. But it's not just what this is, because a lot of people who are listening to this record would be listening to for the sake of it's Rebecca Black, and that's why I chose it. I'm not gonna lie and say that I genuinely love everything she's putting out. So that's why I picked. No, it's Rebecca Black. It's a surprising pick to pick.
You want to know how far she's come, and you want to grade on the Rebecca Black curve of like, maybe for another artist this wouldn't ever be as impressive as you'd think, but for someone with the career that she's had, it is more interesting and impressive.
Plus, how many people from Patrice Wilson are gonna fucking actually find some later success, how small it be?
One else so far.
Yeah. So for it, I mean, look, if there was anyone from that era that was going to get any success, it was going to be Rebecca Black. Let's not lie about that. I mean, can you remember who the other artists were? You can remember fucking some of the songs, but can you remember who the artists were? I think Chinese Food was Alison Gold. I think that's what her name was. Yeah. But really, all I can remember is just how fucking racist that song was.
Yeah.
I just want to read you the background to Chinese Food on the Wikipedia page, and it says Patrice Wilson wrote the song on his birthday in 2012. Wilson is explaining his inspiration for writing the song, stating, "There's a restaurant I go to. They have chicken wings. They have beef with broccoli. That's what I love. This song is based on my experience, what I know about Chinese food."
Fucking
2012, man.
Yeah.
I remember one fucking thing just about that video as well, where Patrice Wilson comes in his fucking bear costume and starts throwing the rap.
Yes.
Yeah, the panda costume.
Panda, so it's even more fucking racist.
Yeah. It was also filmed in a Mongolian restaurant because a Chinese restaurant could not be booked.
Ritz, you know.
Well, some other scenes were shot in Gold's bedroom. Ooh.
Yeah, sorry, Dominic, what were you saying?
Was Fuck You 2011 as well?
CeeLo Green, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was 2010. I think it was 2010.
Let's look it up, because I think that kind of sound definitely fits in with that era of pop. I think if we're talking
it was 2010. It was 2010.
Yeah. If we're talking about, like, we were talking about that era of, like, pop and, like, art pop with Yacht, I think this is kind of the other leg of that, like the fuck yous and the I'm just gonna write about Chinese food because that's what I know.
Man, yeah. I would start singing "Fuck You" right now if I wasn't afraid of us getting copyright striked and the money going towards CeeLo Green. Read CeeLo Green's take on rape, and then you won't want to give him any money. Won't want to give that fucker any money.
Can we also just take a moment to mention CeeLo Green's like dwarven centurion costume he wore to the awards show that one time?
Well, that was something.
That was something.
That was absolutely something.
Oh, I'm reading something on Wikipedia here for Let Her Burn.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to crack this soda and attempt to challenge Ritz to a burp competition.
So man, mine is coming straight from acid reflux. We're not going to fucking do this fight.
Then how she posted the cover art for the album on the 6th, then announced the release date. The same day, Black tweeted a comment criticizing social media personality Andrew Tate, comparing a widely panned song the 36-year-old Tate had recently recorded to her recording of Friday at age 13.
Oof.
Hold up, I gotta find this. I think I've seen it.
Using your own past to dunk on somebody else is wonderful.
Yeah.
No, I would agree.
Anything, Trix?
Yes, it was just I was 13. This man is 36.
That's so eloquent.
It is.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So I think my favorite track here is "Erase You." I think that's a really strong opener.
Yes, I fully agree.
I don't think anything quite else gets to that level, but I would love to see
Crumbs gets up there for me. I think Crumbs was a really good single to put out for this record.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's the Burp.
I think for me, I would love to hear what she has next. I don't care what it is. Like, she has the first album out there. She's gotten there. Doesn't matter anymore. Let's go.
Album's there. I think she's attached herself to a scene where she belongs. That is, for a lot of artists who's, let's be real, the peak of Rebecca Black's popularity will probably forever be Friday. And it's not an insult to what her popularity might get to. It's just that was really popular, and you're already well known for that. A lot of people are probably just going to disregard your future stuff. it's just gonna happen. I've said whilst listening to this record that I actually think this album is good. I don't think it's groundbreaking. I don't think it's gonna be anywhere close to my favorites of the year, but I think it's just good. And that was a surprise to me when I listened to this, because I still have some stigma from listening to Friday back in 2011.
So this is a fun album.
Yeah, I was thinking about something. There's something I would love Rebecca Black to cover. I don't know what part of it she could cover, but I would really, really love to see her do something for My Teenage Dream Ended.
Yeah, or maybe do a collab with Emily Montes.
No, do a collab with Farrah Abraham. No, not Emily.
Yeah,
Montes.
Farrah Abraham. I don't think I can't remember. Was Farrah Abraham one of the ones that had like some other controversy attached to them? But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
She was on. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if you're on.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah, if you're on 16 and pregnant and don't have controversies on your Wikipedia page, I don't know why you're on the show to begin with.
It was like the only thing she had done was porn or something. Besides,
that might have been it. That might have been it. That's probably pretty tame, to be honest. Yeah, bring us the Farrah Abraham collab then.
Absolutely. Yeah, cover, collab, something like that.
Mm-hmm. She was on Big Brother, where she was the 5th housemate to be evicted. She was not in the top 4 highest voted housemates, and her fellow housemate chose to evict her. She spent 23 days in the house. I don't know what that means. She accused the mayor of Windsor, California, for sexually assaulting her.
Yeah, because mayors have always been nice, clean people.
Yeah.
He's one of 9 women to accuse him of crimes.
Yeah.
The guy resigned within 3 hours of people asking him about what happened.
Oh, no, I remember what the question was. She was arrested for assaulting a nightclub security guard.
Gotcha. I since we're talking about this, I want to give a shout out to Fannie Ray Baker. That pun on whatever the fuck it is, I forget.
Tammy Faye Baker?
Yeah, you're right. I'm half asleep, half awake. I don't know.
But yeah,
half empty. Are you half asleep or half awake?
I'm saying this in needing to move this episode along. This is a good pop album. There were some really catchy moments on here. Yeah, there were some moments on here as well which are a little bit too generic and overdone, to the point in which the time that Rebecca Black's got into it, it doesn't really do much. Yes, you're all right. There are some also more mainstream pop writing influences on here, which don't end up creating more of a unique sound for Rebecca. But in the case of listening to this, in the case of all the context, this is just good to see that an artist like her can put something out like this. And it's like, basically, yeah, as Dominic was saying, we're more excited for what she does next, because now that the reinventing stage is basically finished, we can actually potentially get a well-established artist. And
yes,
I will say shit about a lot of mainstream artists, and I will never hold back on that because I am as pretentious as possible. But stuff like this, and even for other artists, like as I mentioned before, one of the other big reinventions was Miley Cyrus, and I'm not a Miley Cyrus fan at all. To the point where I've never liked Hannah Montana, never liked the songs, blah 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 blah, etc. etc.
Mm-hmm.
But it is fun to look at the lines, and remember, those were some very similar time periods that these were happening as well. It is fun to look at this back in hindsight and just congratulate artists who have been absolutely criticized, but also managed to completely reinvent themselves into a way in which they are more established. Like Miley Cyrus more established herself as Miley Cyrus than Hannah Montana. And that's really hard for a lot of Disney stars to get past that. The only other one that I can think of that kind of did it was Justin Timberlake.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's you don't really remember much other Disney stars for anything else other than they were a Disney star.
Selena Gomez, I'd argue.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
I'd still kind of more remember her as that. Ariana Grande, I might argue, but I still also remember
Ariana Grande wasn't Disney; she was Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying it as that. Nickelodeon's a bit easier, admittedly, though.
Yeah,
as a genre of pop star.
Drake Bell never beat Nickelodeon, though. He never beat the Mexican Feds either.
Yep.
Anyway, favorites on here: Erase You and Crumbs. Least favorite, probably something like Cry Hard Enough or a Doe-Eyed.
Favorites, Erase You. Least favorites probably something like Destroy Me.
Favorites for me, Erase You was good. No real least favorite. It was all just kind of good, and I'm just waiting for the next Rebecca Black release.
Rebecca Black is Rebecca back.
Yes.
All right.
Back
Well,
in
we got
black.
one more record. We got one more record.
Yes, Deadstock.
There's another Shakey Graves.
Babe, it's time for the next Shakey Graves album. Yes, dear.
This will be the last one for a while, I promise.
From
Yeah,
at
you
least.
promised that the last 4 times.
Hey, it was like 6 months between the last one, okay?
It doesn't feel like it.
We did promise that there's something would happen for Shakey Graves Day, and here it is.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
and
fair,
the
that's
Shakey
fair.
Graves Day anthology release.
And it's a real album that's released for real, not just Shakey Graves Day.
No, it's not, and it's a collection of stuff off of other little EPs and albums and
Some newer stuff
YouTube
too, it
releases.
seems like.
And honestly, I think that's the best way to do a release like this with someone
Yeah.
like Shakey Graves.
Yes. There's some
I
really
like
good
No
stuff.
What. I like
Yes.
Nutwife.
Nutwife's
I'll
good.
give him that. Yeah, I like
Nutwife
that
is good.
song.
I'd like to give a shout out to the hand-pumped organ on the Big Bad Wolf reimagining.
So,
Ooh.
you talked about a Montreal. I think
Did I?
Shakey is
Oh,
going
yeah.
in that direction.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, there's the big psychedelic breakdown before Big Bad Wolf.
Not even that necessarily. More just the experimentation has gone super high on this one. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
interesting stuff here. Like, the acoustic look alive, the Big Bad Wolf reinterpretation, Notwife being so it's like a surfy track almost.
Yeah.
Then there's something like Oh Death, which is very different, very vocal, not Shakey Graves really at all. There's a lot of different things happening that I think expand the palette of what Shakey Graves can do and what he does versus you just listen to And the War Came and albums like that.
Yes.
Oh, my pop filter fell.
I-
But I like the mix.
Like most, I was going to just say though, like most Shakey Graves, I just struggled to get into it as a full release.
I really like the mix of live and studio tracks. I think it number one again kind of reinforces this is not meant to be a whole album, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a compilation, and
But
I thought that would help me, to be honest, like appreciate this more, just getting a full compilation of just the little bits from it. But in the end, I just struggled to get into Shakey Graves. I think when we did West of Calgary, that was the most I was surprised, and I thought, okay, I actually really enjoyed this because as a live performer, Shakey Graves is actually kind of captivating.
Oh yes.
So I ended up enjoying that record, and the live songs here, except for Big Bad Wolf, didn't really capture that kind of thing. And I was actually more surprised. My favorite on here was the studio track. We had that context on here, but just to me, and just having listened to all the Shakey Graves unwillingly that I've had to on here. There is a little Stockholm Syndrome that has come in which I've started to appreciate some of the sounds that I'm hearing and understanding why he's so popular in this kind of genre, or specifically so in his hometown. But at this point, I'm just not really going to get more into him than I am. I think I've listened to enough Shakey Graves to go, all right, this is just not for me.
I was really hoping this would be the one.
I appreciate a lot that's done. I'm the best I liked an album was Can't Wake Up, which was a lot more indie rock or alternative, I guess, to all of them, and it was probably everyone's least favorite Shakey Graves album because it's the least Shakey Graves out of all of them. Yeah, he's someone that I would probably be happy to watch live. I wouldn't be one of those people singing along to songs or knowing anything about it, but I understand why everybody watches, and it looks like he's a really good live performer. So I would probably do that, and that is the most that you can get to consider a win here, Trix.
Would you sing along?
Trix
Would you sing along if you did Notwife?
I can't remember the lyrics.
Such a good song.
I would clap. I would clap if everyone else is clapping.
That's fair. I guess I just something like Oh Death is just so surprising to me because it's so vocally dependent and really highlights how good he is as a vocalist, not just a guitarist, not just a busker, not just a guy who can do 10 instruments at once. When he focuses on one, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I did like Odef as well. I don't think there's anything on here that I hated, it's just the crazy part out of this for me to just not be into him.
Sure.
So you'd think I'd be like, okay, well, here are these things that I hate and stuff. Sometimes a certain sound just doesn't hit, and that's where I've come to with him. Because as I'm saying, I can understand why people like this. I can understand why people think he's probably one of the better artists to be doing this.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just does not hit. That dopamine receptor in my brain, it's going to sleep.
It's broke.
It's broke.
Okay.
Please fix.
What you're describing is how I feel about Hockey Dad.
Oh. As a fan of both, I don't know if my brain is super good or broken.
I appreciate Hockey Dad a lot. I understand why they're popular. I like some of the songs, but I'm never going to get into them on that level.
Well, at least the stuff that I've picked for next week is a little bit more unique for Hockey Dad.
Which I appreciate.
It's good shit.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, I'll listen to any Hockey Dad you throw at me, but I don't think my opinion of them will ever advance more than it already has.
Yeah, well, that's how music works, though.
It is.
I would love to be wrong. I would love to have that next level hit. Be like, oh shit, I didn't even consider this.
Monty.
Like, I don't know.
Morty.
If I was never,
he keeps trying to get into the fucking cabinet next to the stove.
like, if we hadn't done Roll the Bones X and we had done something like And the War Came or something like that first, I could see this being the album that really sold it for me.
Yeah.
But I've been sold on Shakey Graves since the first time. This is just another really interesting, really good, an expansive, again, kind of like Rebecca Black, looking more forward to what he's doing next. I'm hoping some of the sounds he has here kind of inform what's coming next.
Oh, yeah.
And that they're not just one-offs or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's more of the same, though. That's just what this is. You like Shakey Graves, you like what he's doing? Well, here's more of it.
But like, imagine if he did more stuff like Not Life. Not Life is definitely a different kind of track.
That is.
Yeah, I mean, I like Not Life, but it doesn't mean I'm in love with it. I just liked it.
That is not my beautiful wife. Sorry, the joke had to be made.
I fall a little bit in love, but people over time. Anyway, I really like this.
It's a good album. Good compilation, I should say.
Yes, it's better than the other one we covered this week.
Yep. So should we get into favorites, least favorites?
Yeah, might as well. My favorites. Oh Death, Look Alive, live version, Not Life. Those are probably my three top ones. My least favorite's probably something like Chupacabra or I don't know, Devil May Care. They're just not as good to me.
Favorites for me, Laughing All the Way into Big Bad Wolf. Just ooh, that is a good 1-2 punch. Not Wife is good. I like the live version of The Recipe. I don't really have a least favorite.
Favorite is Not Wife. Least favorite, I don't know. Probably I'll just be lazy and say Devil May Care, because Dominic picked it.
Fair enough.
Devil May Cry.
Devil May Sob.
Devil May Rank.
Devil May Shit and Come.
I was trying to do a segue. Let's rank.
Devil May Wank. You
Okay.
said?
Okay.
Rank. RANK.
I know.
Rank the albums. We'll wank later, Dominic. Wank.
I got a lasagna, guys.
My least favorite of the week is Flume. After that, I will go Rebecca Black. After that, I will go 100. No. No. After Flume, I'm going to do Pigs X7, then Rebecca Black, then 100 gecs, then Shakey Graves, then YACHT.
I'm gonna do Flume last, Then I'm going to do Shakey Graves after Flume. Then I'm going to do Pigs X7. That's 3. Then I'll do Rebecca Black after Pigs X7. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be real with you. I thought it was our number 1, but then I'm like, actually, if I more think about it, so number 2 I'm gonna put as Yacht Shangri-La, and number 1 I'm gonna put as 100 gecs Snake Eyes EP.
All right. Number 6, Flume. Then I'm gonna go Rebecca Black, Pigs X7, Yacht, Shakey Graves, Snake Eyes.
I win either way.
Yes.
Oh no, you have to pick it yourself to get the unanimous.
Yacht's just too good. I'm sorry.
That's them rules.
Yeah.
The rules that we have set in stone, ironclad.
Yeah, we've set them in stone, ironclad since season 1.
But so now, let's talk about next week.
Next week, you want to start off, Dominic?
Yeah, I have a busy week coming up. I'm hoping I'll be able to get around for the recording, but I wanted to get a jump on things, so I asked everyone to kind of announce it early. So it's also April Fool's Day. I always like doing something for April Fool's Day, and y'all voted in the chat for me to do something controversial. Yep. I thought a lot about that, and what does that mean? And I decided, what is the most trolling, stupid pick I could do? And I chose to do the original 100 gecs EP, as well as the Ants from Up There Deluxe Edition from Black Country New Road, because they both have new albums out, but I'm not picking them.
Hell yeah.
Incredible. Trix, you want to pick next, or do you want me to pick?
Sure, I'll go. I'm going old school. I'm gonna delve back into the world of goth. Put on my zippered leather jacket and platform boots with 17 buttons on them, and I'm gonna do The Cure's Pornography.
Yes.
Is this the first time we've done an album after we've listened to a cover already?
I don't think so.
Because I know we did AFI, one of their EPs at the Hanging Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Anyway.
Good question.
So I've picked for next week. I've picked Hockey Dad's Early Days EP, plus their live album, Live at the Drive-In, and then the completely unrelated band Jeff and the Spinocchies, or however you pronounce it, EP as well. The Coleys, yep. EP from 2016. Completely unrelated band. No link whatsoever.
No shirt, no shoes, no dice. Oh, yeah. So that's it, everybody. We're going to say it all again for you, just in case you missed it. Fritz has chosen Hockey Dad's Early Days EP and Live at the Drive-In, the live album, as well as Jeff and the Spicoli's No Shirt, No Shoes, No Dice EP. Trix has chosen The Cure's Pornography.
Indeed.
And I have chosen 100 gecs EP, and the deluxe edition of Ants from Up There from Black Country New Road, more focusing on the live tracks, but of course we can talk about the whole album again.
All right.
If that's everything, I've been Dominic. You can catch me online on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I'm also on YouTube, Dominic Jacoki, if you must look that up. I'm on the Games My Mom Found podcast sometimes. It's going to be in the link. You'll see which episode I did most recently. I don't remember.
I've been Trix. You can catch me online on Twitter, and that's really it until Twitter explodes, and then they'll kind of just find me spray painting my tweets onto boxcars.
Not the boxcars. Think of the children.
No.
Benny and his chipped pink cup.
I've been Ritalin. You can catch me on my website, Ritalin for Kids at github.io. I also have a YouTube channel. It's in the description below.
Now I need to think I have a discussion with Trix about Boxcar Children.
I think we've already had one.
I don't remember. I don't think so. But anyway, we'll take that off air. Everyone else have a great night.
Have a good one.